Hello, welcome to another lecture. In this lesson, we are going to be learning how to do a rotation animation using a sketch. So the first one we did is just a basic rotation, but in this one, we are actually going to be using a sketch to do our rotation animation. And using a sketch is actually the best way to do your rotation animation because it allows you to control the your rotation very well. So to show you what I mean, so let's click on the top plane, and we first of all we need to draw our sketch. So looking at this model, I want to raise this top plane up a little bit. So let's click on reference geometry, and let's just raise this top plane up to something like that. 1.1 is good. So we'll click OK. So on that new plane, plane 1, and let's draw a sketch. And so now let's go normal 2, and let's just draw a circle. So I'm gonna zoom out something like that. A circle that is big enough. So what we want to do is let's draw two lines connecting to that circle, and let's dimension our circle. Let's make it dimension that circle. Let's make it 13 is good. And now let's trim this edge away. And trimming this edge is very important because when you rotate your camera around this circle, SolidWorks is going to be able to tell whether you are rotating in clockwise direction or counterclockwise direction. If you don't trim it, SolidWorks won't be able to tell in what direction you are rotating. So we're just going to make this two-line construction line, and we should have something like that. Or we can even delete those two lines. We really don't need it. We just need it to trim our circle. So we have something like that. So now exit that sketch. Now let's go into our motion study tab, and if you are still working on continuing from the previous one, you can right click on that model and create a new motion study. It's still going to be the same thing. So the next thing we need to do now is right down here, right click and click disable playback or view keys again. Then the next thing we need to do is under light, camera and scene, we want to right click on this and click add camera. So now we are in the properties. So target, the first one is the target. Target is where you want to be target, and you have these two screen. This screen is where you're going to be editing it, and the right screen is what it will look like. So for our target, in this target, we want to click somewhere on that body and position the camera. Now we want to place that camera position on the sketch we drew. So the next thing we need to do is just zoom out. So that's what it looks like. And my degrees is on. Make sure this is 0 degrees. So as you can see now, it looks normal. So 0 degrees. So, and that's all you need to do, and you can zoom this out. So that is what it looks like. And so remember, you select the face, click where you want to target. So I can pretty much click anywhere on this valve, it doesn't really matter. And where to place your camera, you click on your sketch and click OK. And I actually don't like how my sketch, I need to make that sketch bigger. So I can change this to, let's change it to 25 to make that part bigger. So when I go back and I click on that camera, properties, I'm going to edit it, and I can zoom in. So I have something like that. That looks good. and I'll click. And the next thing we need to do is just come down and change this to 16 by 9 and click OK. So now I'm in my animation, and this is my first animation. So what we need to do is drag this timeline to wherever we want it to. Like, let's say we want to drag it to 5 seconds, or I can drag it to 4 seconds. Then what I would do is right click on that camera again, go back to the properties, and I can now move this camera, just swing it on that part. While it's still on that part, swing it somewhere right here and click OK. Now as you can see, SolidWorks has created a new keyframe for that position of that valve now. And the next thing I can do is drag it to 8 seconds again. Right click on the camera, properties, and let's rotate it back this way to something like that. Something like right there. And we click OK. So now SolidWorks has created another keyframe. So if I press play, as you can see, my camera is rotating to this first view that I rotated, and it rotated back to the second view. So that is how you do your camera rotation in SolidWorks. Remember, you would make your sketch, the part you want to put your camera on, go into your properties, and the target is where you want to be always pointing at, and your camera position will be on that sketch you drew. Then you can now rotate your camera around it. And to save it is the same way. We'll just click save, browse to the location. I'll call this 1 and 16 by 9, and let's just make this 25. So, and we click OK, and we'll click full frames on compress and click OK. Do you want to recalculate? Yes. And now our animation is saving. So, and just give it a couple of seconds. Depending on how big your animation is, it will take some time for your animation to save. And just bear in mind, and if you are using Photo View 360 in SolidWorks, it would even take longer. So when you are saving it, if you want to save it as a Photo View 360, that option will be under the option where we select the AVI file. Then you can select Photo View 360. So it's done. So let's browse to our file location, and we have the valve 1. And when I click play, and as you can see, there goes our animation that we just made. Anyway, thank you, and I will see you in the next lecture. Bye.